Before we get into this week's episode of Gazzetta Dello FIVE, don't forget to check out last week's episode of Vibe with Five. It was an absolute banger. Also, next week, we got 5 formations launching. Rio sits down with Culture Cams and they talk about different formations in the Champions League finals, all types of classic games. So make sure you stay tuned.
Doesn't matter, he's done it. You can't say it's like saying.
Would you say Jose Mourinho is still a great manager now, a world-class manager now, or do you reckon maybe
he's not at the level he was before?
Okay, so why can't we say that about Pep?
What do you mean? Are you mad?
No,
you see what Pep's been doing still? He's still winning leagues.
Yes, but you've got to win.
But he's still winning leagues.
How much is he spending?
Yeah, but he's still winning leagues. It doesn't matter. He's still winning leagues.
I'm not saying he's dead.
How much money?
I'm just going to plead the fifth here. I've got no dog in this fight.
So many people have spent money, but they have not remained consistently in terms of winning. This guy is winning every year.
He's got 2 squads, bro.
But he's winning. It doesn't matter. He's still got to do it. He's still winning every year. Chelsea went out and spent £100 million on a striker and are finishing almost worse off than what they finished last year.
Yes, everyone, welcome back to Five. This is Gazzetta Dello FIVE. Stephen Howson, Joe Bayer, and obviously the man that we trust, Fabrizio Romano. We are talking some big deals today and some big movements. And I think the biggest one starts with something that you yourself broke, Fabrizio. Kylian Mbappe, what's going on?
Yes, the story is still open, guys. This is the reality I want to tell you, because in the last hours, we heard about an extension done with Paris Saint-Germain, or almost done. Yesterday and in the past few days, we heard about Kylian Mbappe set to sign with Real Madrid. But the reality, till a few minutes ago, before entering here with you, I had some checks, some phone calls, and the answers I'm receiving is he is not 100% decided yet. It will happen this weekend, probably tomorrow, Saturday. If not tomorrow, it will be today or Sunday. But Kylian Mbappe is still in the process to decide. He has 2 proposals, of course, on the table from Paris Saint-Germain, and this is a really huge one, and from Real Madrid. Let me say that on last Tuesday, this week, Real Madrid were really confident to have the green light from Kylian Mbappe. So they were just waiting for Kylian and his camp to communicate, okay, we are coming, after having an agreement on a potential contract. But at that point, Kylian asked for more time. He wanted to think about it with his family, with his lawyers, with his camp. And so now we are still at the point with Kylian, who has to make his decision. Paris Saint-Germain are pushing and pushing with an incredible proposal. They want him to stay at all costs, so they're trying everything in the last hours especially, but it's still not decided. So we have to wait. It's a matter of hours, and then we will know.
It's funny because Kylian says, I can't say about my future, but you'll know very soon. It's almost decided. It sounds like it's some sort of saga, a Dragon Ball Z saga. Stay tuned. We'll find out next. I mean, it's truly impressive. And it's the fact that they want to give him like the power over there to make decisions. I've never heard anything like it. It sounds like LeBron James.
Yes, this is something that they say in the press, and it's normal, no, to say this kind of things. I think it's absolutely normal. Then when we say power, I don't know at which point, because honestly, in these conversations, what I'm told is that they are not telling Kylian you will be the sport director at Paris Saint-Germain or this kind of thing. So, of course, they will hear his opinion. But this is something normal in top clubs when there are top players. Let me say, when you have players like Messi, Ronaldo, Messi for many years at Barcelona, they were asking him about players. But this is something normal sometimes with top players to ask about potential signings or players to leave. So I don't see anything like Kylian will be the real man with the power at Paris Saint-Germain, but for sure his opinion will be important. They want Kylian to be the face of the project. This is the point. They want him to be Paris Saint-Germain image in the world for the next 2 or 3 years, even with a short-term contract, because it's not going to be a long-term contract in case he will stay at Paris Saint-Germain. So this is the reality. They're offering him a lot of money, the possibility to be part of the process for something internally at PSG, but not to be the director. This is too much, honestly.
So one of the leaks that came out from El Tringuino was that he was going to be given, obviously, massive economics, deciding on the players, but also having an input into who the manager is.
I think this is something that could be the case. I'm sure that it doesn't depend on Kylian Mbappe, honestly. There is the information I'm receiving is that there are good chances for Mauricio Pochettino to leave Paris Saint-Germain at the end of current season, so in the coming weeks, but it doesn't depend on Kylian Mbappe. Of course, Kylian Mbappe's future at the moment is the only thing for Paris Saint-Germain. For example, they were having conversations with Paul Pogba, but they can't close the deal now because they're still negotiating with Mbappe. They have not communicated anything to Mauricio Pochettino yet because they are still waiting for Mbappe. So it's normal to have this Mbappe process to change the timing at Paris Saint-Germain for everything else. But at the same point, I don't think that the Pochettino's future is Kylian Mbappe this season, honestly.
Sorry to interrupt, Steve, I'm really sorry to interrupt, right? But there's been breaking news that actually I just missed it, that Borussia Dortmund have sacked Marco Rose. He's no longer the manager. Like, what's going on?
Yes. This is real. Marco Rose has been officially fired. It's been a decision because they were not convinced into the club about him. This season was not easy for Borussia Dortmund, and so they decided to fire him. The new manager, from what I'm told, should be and will be in the coming hours Terzic, so it will be a comeback for him. He did pretty well last year, and now he's ready to come back at Borussia Dortmund. Let me say that will be a really important summer at Borussia Dortmund because they already signed Niklas Süle from Bayern, Schlotterbeck from Freiburg, and of course Adeyemi from Salzburg. But it's not over. They want another striker to replace Erling Haaland, so they will be pretty busy this summer.
They're doing a madness in the transfer. They are so far winning the transfer window. Although it sounds like Kylian Mbappe might actually win the transfer window. Is it true that he was supposedly offered a €200 million signing on bonus from Real Madrid?
This is one of many stories. Honestly, I'm told that this is not correct, but you know that this is kind of private conversation. So I can't be 100% sure of what I'm saying. The answer I'm receiving from Mbappe's camp is that all the numbers that we see around are not correct. Many of the numbers.
No, it's not 200, 195.
maybe. But, you know, in this case, it's private conversation. So I can't be 100% sure of what I'm saying.
Steve,
right, where's Pogba going? In fact, Joe, I don't care. Is he going? Yes, sorted.
Two ways. Yes, he's going. He's going 2 ways. Paris Saint-Germain, best proposal on a financial point of view. So they're offering a really important contract. And Paul Pogba had conversations. His agents had conversations with Paris Saint-Germain. But as I said before, they're waiting to resolve this Kylian Mbappe story before meeting again with the agents of Paul Pogba, maybe next week, and then decide. But also Juventus. Juventus are offering less money because it's around 8 million euros net per season plus add-ons to arrive around 10, 11 per season for 3 years. But Paul is really tempted because he knows that Juventus are the perfect place for him. He was really happy at Juventus in the past. And so it's Juventus or Paris Saint-Germain, but Juventus are really tempting him. Let me say that Manchester City approached Paul Pogba because they were really interested in Paul Pogba. They approached him, they approached his agents. They were ready to make a proposal for same salary he's earning now at Manchester United. But after 2 or 3 days, Paul Pogba's decision was to turn down Manchester City. And so now it's only Paris Saint-Germain or Juventus.
Who's picked up Raiola's agency since his passing?
It's Rafaela Pimienta, that is the lawyer who has always been working with Mino Raiola. She's always been in the negotiations, but of course, Mino was the frontman. So this is why we never heard in public of Rafaela. But she's working on it, on all the top players like Matthijs de Ligt, Paul Pogba, and the many others in the agency. And Vincenzo Raiola, who is the cousin of Mino Raiola. There's always been also him in the agency, and so they are negotiating.
A short lady.
Yes.
I think
Rafaela. I mean.
I think
Vincenzo is his cousin. Yes, probably.
Fab, I want to ask you about Aaron Wan Bissaka, the Spider. We've seen breaking news this week that Ten Hag, is happy to sell him on. Is this true? Yes or no? I mean, obviously we saw the breaking news, but what's the actual in-depth story with this?
No, he's one of the many players at Manchester United that have chances to leave. Then it will depend on proposals, of course, because it's true that Erik Ten Hag, for example, I'm told that he appreciates Diogo Dalot. He has chances to stay at the club, but for Wan Bissaka, it's not the same. So for Wan Bissaka, it depends on the proposals. Let me say that it depends on how much they will bid, because they spent a lot of money on him. So we know about interest from Crystal Palace, but it will be a loan with possibly buy option, and this is something that for Man United makes no sense now. Maybe in the coming weeks, not coming months, yes, but not now. And so Wan Bissaka is one of the players who could leave the club. Phil Jones, Dean Henderson, there are many, Eric Bailey, there are many players expected to leave. And of course, all the players out of contract, as we already know, Matic, Pogba, as we already mentioned, Cavani is going to leave, Lingard is going to leave. So it's many players set to leave Manchester United.
Mm-hmm. And Antony to the Premier League. I mean, the Ajax right winger, 22 years old, contract expires in 2025. What's the deal with that, man? I heard it's either United or Liverpool.
Yes, this is a possibility. His agents have been in Europe for months to discuss with important clubs, but still nothing decided, I'm told. A lot of clubs are exploring this possibility. But you know what's happening? That Ajax are not happy with all the rumors that we have around, because it seems that one day they're selling Lisandro Martinez, one day they're selling Jared Timber, one day they're selling Antony, and they are not going to sell all their best players. Same with Aller, the striker. He's in the list of Bayern and Borussia Dortmund, but they are not going to sell all the players. And for example, Antony could be a player that maybe in 1 year could be worth maybe 100 million euros. So this is why for Ajax at the moment it's time to make a strategy, but nothing is advanced with Antony. It's true that there is a lot of interest, but nothing advanced.
Timber looks like it might be progressing nicely. Is there much truth to that?
Which one? Sorry, I missed it.
Timber.
Yes. Timber, yes, it's a possibility. It's one of the possibilities, I'm told. Is still not advanced between clubs. So from what I'm told, there is no bid from Manchester United for Timber. But he's one of the names that they discussed internally. I want to keep the name of Pau Torres too, because I see Pau Torres moving to the Premier League this summer, and Manchester United have an interest in signing him. So he's one of the players they have in the list, Timber, Pau Torres. We will see, because it will be up to Erik Ten Hag to decide, of course, in the coming days. But both players are in the list. And for Timber, it also depends on the price. Because, for example, for Pau Torres, we know that he has a release clause, 55, 60 million euros available this summer. So it could be an opportunity for Man United even to negotiate, maybe with Villarreal. The relationships are pretty good. For Timber, I think the price will be maybe more than this. It will be around 60, 65. So it depends on Ajax. So let's see.
Frenkie de Jong. Seems like United's interest in him is very real, but it seems like his interest in United is not very real. Do you think something's going to happen there?
I'm sure that he wants to play Champions League football. The answer I always received, since we had rumors about Manchester United, is Frenkie wants to play Champions League football. So it's not going to be easy. The reality is that he's a player in the list on Manchester United. Erik Ten Hag is pushing to have him as one of the faces of the new era at Manchester United. So I'm sure that they will try. I'm sure that he will try to convince Frenkie, but it's not disrespect for Man United. Simply wants to play Champions League football. It was not an easy season for Barcelona, an easy period in general for Barcelona. And Frenkie is a top player who wants to play at top level. So he wants Champions League football. So it's maybe not easy for him to accept to go at Man United now in beginning of a new era. So it's not so easy. But for sure, Erik Ten Hag will try. The real point is about the price, because I'm told that Barcelona wants around 80 million euros for Frenkie de Jong, and Xavi will do his best to keep the player at the club, to sell other players and not Frenkie de Jong. So we are still at really early stages. Of course, he's a player that they want, Manchester United, but it's not an easy one for sure.
I'm moving it on now to Chelsea. Romelu Lukaku, this is interesting. He's put out a statement that says, I kept my mouth shut and focused on helping the team and ended the season in the best way possible. So if someone's out there trying to say something about me and the club, not in my name. Now, this quote was in response to his agents claiming that the striker wanted to hold talks with Chelsea in regards to the future with his club. We all know he joined for £97.5 million from Inter Milan. But, you know, Tuchel has preferred Kai Havertz as the number 9 instead. Any more about this situation, Fabrizio?
Yes, first of all, I think Romelu wanted to clarify just because it seems that after really complicated months, he finally scored goals for Chelsea. And so it was him that immediately after he was scoring goals, we had rumors about his future. And this is something that Romelu didn't want, because he's still waiting to discuss with Thomas Tuchel about the future, about next season. And same with the board. At the moment, they can't do anything. As we know at Chelsea, the situation is in total standby for many players, not just for Lukaku. They're waiting to have conversations with the board to understand what will happen. And for Lukaku, as you mentioned, they paid important money. It was under 15 million euros paid to Inter. So they need to decide if they want to trust him for one more season or maybe let him go. But for example, we always have rumors about Inter. About AC Milan, I'm told there is nothing. But about Inter, we have rumors every single day, because it's normal. Romelu in December was pretty clear that one day he wants to go back to Inter, but I'm 100% sure that Inter can't pay that money. Inter are not paying 90 million, 100 million for Romelu Lukaku. They can't do it. Impossible. So the only way is if Chelsea will accept a different formula or maybe a different payment, if Romelu will have a pay cut for his salary, because Inter can't pay 12 million euros net per season. And this is the salary for Romelu at Chelsea. So it's still too early to say what happens with Romelu, because at the moment the situation is in standby with Chelsea, and we need to understand how much Chelsea will ask for Romelu.
There's been some talk of Jules Koundé. Is there much in that? Do we see Chelsea doing much following the new takeover? They've got a lot of players out of contract, but they look like they're trying to do a little bit of business themselves. Is the Koundé thing got any substance to it?
Yes, they're still in contact with his agents since a long time. We know that last summer he was one step away from joining Chelsea, and he's still one of the names that they have mentioned internally in the board. Of course, they can't move right now, and this is why we are still not in advanced negotiations between Sevilla and Chelsea. But for sure, Chelsea board are still in contact with his agents. He's still a player that they like. They need to sign at least one or two centre-backs this summer because Rudiger is going to Real Madrid and Christensen to Barcelona. And so for Koundé is a name that I would keep in Chelsea list, 100%. The player wanted Chelsea move last summer, and then at the end was Sevilla to tear down their proposal. Let me remind that Sevilla release clause in the contract with Koundé, 80 million euros, and they are not easy to negotiate with. We know how with Sevilla it's really complicated and tough to negotiate. So it's not going to be an easy one for Chelsea, but I'm sure that he's a player they have in the list again.
Wow, amazing stuff. Anything happening at Liverpool? On the verge of becoming European champions, FA Cup champions, League Cup champions. Who are they going for? I know you don't like it. I know Steve's hate for Liverpool is just hilarious. Any news on that side, though?
Yes, Liverpool are always really quiet and public on the market. They will have the announcement of Fabio Carvalho as new signing from Fulham. It will be completed in the coming days, but it's already signed. So Fabio Carvalho will join Liverpool and will stay at Liverpool. So I'm told that there is no plan to loan him out this season, new season. Also, Calvin Ramside is a fullback from Aberdeen, really interesting player, born in 2003. He's a player that they are scouting and following and monitoring, so could be an option for Liverpool. And then the big names, because for sure Liverpool are exploring big names for the summer. One of these big names is Tchouaméni, Monaco midfielder. He's a player that they really like, and I see Liverpool doing something in the midfield this summer. Already last summer, they wanted to do something important with Renato Sanchez, who was one of the players in the list, but then it didn't happen. This summer, Tchouaméni is a player that they really appreciate, but it depends on the price, because at the moment he's performing at top level, and Monaco are prepared to ask for crazy money for Tchouaméni. So at the moment, there is interest. There are contacts between Tchouaméni agents and Liverpool, but we are not still close to this move. So keep an eye on Liverpool, because I'm sure that they will explore this kind of opportunities like Tchouaméni.
Okay.
And then contracts, because for Liverpool, contracts is always an important topic. Firmino is out of contract next summer. Mane is out of contract next summer. Of course, Mo Salah, and we are still in a standby between Mo Salah and Liverpool in these negotiations. They want him to extend, but at the moment they have still no financial agreement. So contracts is an important topic in Liverpool this summer. Really important one.
Fab, Newcastle. I think we're all expecting big things. There's some talk of Dean Henderson. Am I right in saying that there's also something potentially with Memphis Depay to Newcastle? What sort of rumblings are you hearing there? Do you think they're going to go bananas in this window and overtake Arsenal next year?
I think they will do. I think they will do something important. Let me say that I think they were perfect in January. Yeah? They signed Bruno Guimaraes, who is a fantastic player. So I think they were really perfect. And this will be the way to sign these kind of players. Not old players, but important players ready to have an impact immediately. So Dean Henderson is a player they want, but they are not paying 40 million for him. So I think loan could be an option, but they will discuss in the coming weeks. It's still not close, but Dean Henderson is a player they have in the list. I see them signing players in many positions. Left back is another one they're exploring. So I see Newcastle really busy this summer. For Memphis Depay, he's one of the names that have been discussed, but at the moment from Barcelona, they still see him as an option to stay at the club for next summer, for next season. So it's still something really open. But I think Newcastle will be pretty busy in the summer, yes.
And just for the record, do you think they're going to finish above Arsenal next season?
Good question. Good question. I don't know, because I think for Arsenal will be a pretty good summer.
Yes or no, please, Fab.
Yeah. Thank you, Fab. Thank you, Fab. You will be back with us next season for sure. On that topic of Arsenal, have you heard anything, I don't know, like anything interesting?
Just they were all happy. Just trying to upgrade the squad.
The player they want is Gabriel Jesus. He is the player they want, but they need to negotiate with City, because it's true that he's out of contract in June 2023, and it's true that he wants to leave the club because Gabriel Jesus will leave. There are many clubs, but Arsenal want him. They are already in conversations with his agent, so he's the man that they want as new striker.
I'm going to try this a little bit differently this time. Is Bellerin coming back, yes or no?
His contract is expiring with Betis, so his loan deal is expiring. So at the moment, yes, but I don't see him staying, honestly.
Why else do you think he was crying, Joel?
Yeah. That's the kind of news we don't want to hear. What about Saliba? Because young player of the year in Ligue 1, you know, obviously, yes, he's been left out of the French squad, which is horrible. But in regards to Arsenal, You know, like, why are we not calling him back?
Well, I think it's still open. I'm not sure that they are not calling him back, honestly. He wants to make sure that he has some space. He wants to play. This boy wants to play. It's really important to him, yes. I think he's a fantastic player. But last summer, when they had this deal with OM, the answer I was receiving on Arsenal side is we sent him to play 38 games with Marseille, and then he will be back here because we trust him. So let's see now how the conversation will go, because he wants to play. He wants to feel important. Let's see. We are now at the point of the discussions, the direct discussions between Saliba's camp and Arsenal, but I'm not sure that he's not staying.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of people that we've got to ship out before, you know, we even think of bringing people in. I know you're in the same situation, Steve, so I don't know why you're smirking. You know what, Fab? There's been a lot going on this week, and but I think that's it for now. I want you guys in the comments to write and let us know who you want to hear about, what questions you've got for Fab. And yeah, thank you very much this season, because you've been watching Gazzetta Dello FIVE, and it's been amazing. It's been amazing, you guys interacting with us. Steve, any words as it's before the final game of the season?
No, I think you're right. I think we'll probably have Fab on. Are we taking a little bit of a break and then coming back hard for the transfer season?
We are. Yeah, we might be.
I think there's going to be some. I don't know if we're going to top last season's, because last season's it was bonkers.
What, Messi and Ronaldo moving?
Yeah, Messi, Ronaldo moving. Just, I mean, you've got a new player in the game now, Newcastle, with essentially unlimited money. Dortmund have already done a madness. I think the Mbappe situation is going to get resolved. I think there's still some real monster £100 million plus moves to happen. I don't know where they're going to be, but I just get the feeling someone's going to do one. I think if Real Madrid miss out on Mbappe, their response will be worth watching, I imagine.
Yeah, it's true. Fab, thank you very much. And yeah, we'll be back soon,
as always,
with Gazzetta Dello FIVE. Peace.